CNTD is.
How's it going, Tim?
You?
Everybody remembers that you're in there.
That's how much I go for getting out to bid, fire department, fire station.
I don't even think
I told them out, but I don't know, I haven't been here, so I'm kind
we
of missed a
haven't
few
even really
things.
we haven't even really discussed it.
Okay.
Good question.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Yeah,
So I don't even know if we have the money for it.
yeah, 'cause I thought we were supposed to hear about the dollar amount already.
Yeah, so did I, but with the spending freeze, we probably will.
Okay.
You can email him.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Who is?
Bob,
Oh, yeah.
very nice guy.
Okay,
Very
yeah,
informative.
I'm just, yeah, I didn't know if anything else
Yeah.
that
I
you
haven't-
knew.
I know, I haven't heard anything.
Okay. Water tower's going live tomorrow, so you
Is it?
can, yeah,
Is it really?
yeah.
Be prepared, right?
Nope.
This is Sue.
Hi, Sue, this is Pam.
Hi, Pam.
Okay, can you hear us okay?
Yes.
Okay. No, you can't, so.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the East Dubuque City Council meeting. It is Monday, September 18th. I ask that you please turn off your cell phones during the meeting and please be quiet during discussions. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Twenty-three 0912 call to order.
Belkin.
Here.
Bergmeyer.
Here.
Dagenhart.
Here.
Mayor Digman.
Here.
Fleur.
Here.
Meyer.
Here.
Roby.
Here.
Attorney Hess.
Here.
23 0913 staff reports. City manager report.
Thank you. We're making progress on closing the books. We think that the audit work should be able to restart within the next 2 weeks. We've got the CPA that we brought in who's been very helpful on that. We've got the ordinance that I've heard from a number of people from Cascade, Iowa on abandoned buildings or unoccupied buildings that were commercial or industrial. We also have a memo that I've written on a potential ordinance for the nuisance properties that we have that are either single-family or not vacant. I think those two go together pretty well into one possible ordinance. What I'd like to do is ask for a couple volunteers. We can only take two from the council to meet and go over those before we turn them over to the attorney to be drafted into code. So if there's anybody interested, let me know.
Me too.
Okay.
You gotta give it
Okay, thank you. Also, a memo went out today to all the other DACRA communities. And in that memo, we offer them the opportunity to share equally in the cost of the program. The cost of the program to us right now is about $5,600 a month. The revenue we get back from the other communities averages about $75 a month. So we're telling them that by the November court date will be the last court date that we'll have unless folks are willing to share in the cost. And so I think that if we're able to share the cost, that program has the potential to break even for us or nearly. And either way, we'll bring it back to the council because there are other benefits to DACRA besides the financial. It does increase compliance, and it should increase the effectiveness of our nuisance ordinances and things like that. So I think there's a lot of value that it brings, but we can't be subsidizing other folks. We're preparing the old police station for appraisal. We learned that involves surveying a new lot out there because the police station, and the fire station are all basically in one lot. It's 6 different lots, but it's one taxing area. So the building itself is about 2 lots, but then we've got to carve out of that room for the well to stay, of course, in city hands. So we've got that working. When that's done, then we'll be able to have the appraisals done on all the buildings that you voted on last meeting. I've handed out to you an update from Jill Pepin on our Illinois EPA related projects, where they all stand. And we'll get to some of that in a moment. The Frontier complaint that was brought up at the last couple of meetings about poles and lines down and all that. I think you'll hear in council member reports that we've made some progress, at least in increasing the heat on those. And with that, I'd like to bring up Mark Rudin. And Mark's going to give an update on the water tower, as well as the meeting we had on sewer line easements last week. Mark?
Good evening, everyone. How are you doing today?
Good, Mark.
Well, tomorrow is a big day for East Dubuque. We will be commissioning the water tower, and by that I mean bringing the water tower online. So we're going to have a few different crews working in town. Dorner's going to be working on a pressure-reducing valve station to make sure that gets set properly with the water tower coming online. They had to wait till we actually bring the system up to pressure in order to bring that, make the proper adjustments with the speed control on those things. So this will probably be between 9 and 10 in the morning when we will increase the pressure. Right now, we've got the tower about half full. We had to fill it all the way up to disinfect it. We've had 2 passing tests, and the Illinois EPA has approved the city to bring the tower online. So we'll be doing that tomorrow. And with the tower half full, it's going to increase pressure on the upper part of the community about 16 PSI. That'll be where we start out at when we first bring it online. Once we get everything equalized, we're going to have that tower flowing into the system, make sure we don't have any leaks or breaks in the system. Then we'll turn on well number 1 and we'll fill the tower the remainder of the way. And that'll take, it's kind of hard to tell how long it'll take. It depends on how much demand there is in the system while we're trying to fill it, because it fills from downtown and that the water that's not used in the community fills the tower. So it could take a while to fill it up, which is okay. That's the way your existing standpipe is also filled. We're anticipating things to go smoothly. We've got a really good plan in place in order to make this happen. One of the things that we are going to do, you've got some agenda items here. Do you mind if I talk about this a little bit?
Yeah, please.
Yep. So, we had talked about possibly closing out Louis' trenching contract. But what we're doing, we're gonna hold off on that until your October 9th council meeting. The reason we wanna do that is if we do have some sort of breaks in the system, or we expose a bad section of water main and we need a contractor to do some replacement, we want to have maximum flexibility to use a local contractor like Louis Trenching to replace that, and also have it be covered under the Illinois EPA loan. So that's the reason we're not gonna close that out tonight. We're gonna wait till October 9th, once we get the system up and running. So that pretty much wraps up to talk about the loan. So, the city, and you see this in Jill's report, if you look at the third paragraph in Jill's report, I think you guys all have that. The city did approve an authorizing loan ordinance in the amount of $4 million after the loan agreement was signed. Right now, the city's only got a $3 million loan, but we knew with the water tower coming in more expensive than was anticipated that we were going to need more loan, basically. So the city approved that. Once we get final numbers where we know what the final cost of the project is here, and we're gonna know that by the end of the month. I spoke with Caldwell today, and they're anticipating finishing up all the extra site work after the tower's online by the end of September, which is what we want them to do, because that keeps them in the seeding window. They need to do some fine grading and seeding, a little asphalt work for the parking lot, just kind of the final cleanup, basically. So once we do that, we'll work with CFPS to get everything kind of completed. We'll get the loan finalized, the extension of the loan to whatever the city actually needs to complete the project work. And then you'll be able to make final payments to the contractors, the engineers, CFPS, and work till closing the project out, basically. Does anybody have any questions about kind of where that project's at?
Sounds good.
Yeah, a lot of good things going on here. So keep your fingers crossed for tomorrow morning that everything goes well and we don't expose any major weak spots in the city's distribution system. So we have a good plan to bring it online. To move on to a discussion about the wastewater collection system project. So this is the one where you have a $2.2 million unsewered communities grant that's been extended out to, what is it? 10/30 of 2026. In order to get the design moving on that, I originated a meeting with the residents that live up in the Indian Hills area there that we need to secure easements from, basically, so that we can put the gravity sewer through the backyards. So we rented out a facility over by Lacoma there, the event center, invited these people to come in and talk with contractors. The mayor was there, Bob was there, and just to kind of let them know a little bit of a briefing as to where the project's at, but more importantly is just, are they on board for working with the city to allow the construction of gravity sewer through their backyards. You know, and this meeting stems from the meeting we had over a year ago where we were originally going to do a low pressure sewer system, and, you know, the people didn't want that. I think Mark Fleur, he really didn't want that for the system. You know, although it was a less expensive alternative and we were able to avoid easements, it ended up being the right thing for the community to actually go with a gravity sewer system so that it would be more palatable to the residents, more palatable to the maintenance team that's going to have to maintain these things over several years. So that's kind of where that project is at. So the meeting went really well. The residents we had there, we had about half the people we invited there. I invited 18 people to the meeting, or 18 families. 9 families showed up. Everybody that was there was very positive, appreciative of the meeting, the discussion, and they verbally said that they would be willing to work with the city to allow them to put this gravity sewer through the backyards. So it was a very good meeting. Now, I do have about 8 other residents I have to talk to, so I'm going to be reaching out to them individually, explaining what's going on, explaining that the city's not annexing them in. They're not forcing people to connect. All we're wanting to do is to put in the gravity sewer system and give people an opportunity to connect. There'd be no charge if they connect during the construction of this project. If they decide they want to connect later on, if their septic system fails, then there would be charges associated with that, both in the, they'd have to find a contractor to do that. So it's a really good opportunity for people where this gravity sewer will be connected. And we had a great group of people there, both local contractors, septic tank installer. It was a really good meeting. Does anybody have any questions about that?
I think that the the most significant thing, in addition to the support that you had in the meeting, there were people who were willing to go talk to their neighbors and encourage them to talk to you. And
That was really good. So hopefully the combination of neighbors talking to each other and us approaching the residents and talking to them and alleviating concerns about what this means to them, we should be able to move the project forward and be able to follow the timeline and have all the work completed by October of 2026. The earliest this construction work would start would be probably late fall of 2024 would be the earliest, and that's based on requirements and funding cycles associated with the EPA. So,
thanks, Mark.
This is a win-win for everybody, right?
yeah,
I mean, I don't know why people would,
the septic systems up there, they're 40 or 50 years old. They're just not going to last forever. This is a great opportunity for those people. But it's not anything that's going to be forced on people, but it is a great opportunity, and we want to make sure they understand the opportunity that they have in front of them here. So,
Perfect.
yep. Did you need me to stick around for any other items on the agenda?
Nope.
All right. Have a great night,
Thanks,
everybody.
Mark.
Mark.
That's it.
Thank you. All right, Mayor's report. Tonight, I'm going to give you what I call the East Dubuque Transparency Report. I feel that it's important to be transparent where we're at as a city. At the end of the night, there'll be copies on the table, and it'll also be attached to the website, so you can pick it up tomorrow, or be on the website tomorrow. All right. As a new mayor, I think it's important to be open and honest about where the city stood when I was elected and where it's headed. I will tell you from the start that the fiscal situation of East Dubuque is not pretty. We have serious issues to tackle, and that's what we're going to do. We got into this mess we're in because not enough information was presented to the council and the public, and frankly, not enough questions were asked by the council. We've been asking questions and digging for facts. Here's what we found. Cities are required to have a financial audit every year. We are working on an audit for the fiscal year that ended April 30th of this year. That process has been slowed by the fact that our books, which should be reconciled, in other words, balanced every month, had not been reconciled since August of 2022. Not having the books up to date meant we haven't been able to apply for a loan for the new fire station, much less knowing if we will qualify for one. It also meant the city couldn't maintain the line of credit at the bank that helps with cash flow. And of course, it meant we couldn't have an audit or even know how much money the city really has. Imagine not balancing your checkbook for a year. Now imagine not balancing your checkbook when you spend $4.5 million a year. When I found out how dire the situation was in July, we made changes. Thanks to the efforts of our interim city manager, city clerk, administrative assistant, and treasurer, we are close to balancing the books and truly knowing where we are financially. We also contracted with a CPA with tremendous experience in local government finance to reconcile those books and ensure we get on a good path moving forward. We have also brought in the independent auditors to prepare a complete audit. We have asked them to take a particularly close look at the areas that seem out of whack. Let me be clear, we have absolutely no reason to believe that there was any illegal misappropriation of funds, but when the accounting has not been kept up to date, there is not proof that things have been done properly. That is why my top priority has been to get the books in order and make the city government completely transparent. So what does this mean? So what does the most recent audit we have show? The most recent audit was for the fiscal year end, April 30th, 2022. The trend is disturbing. The simplest way I can demonstrate the problem is to compare the amount the audit says we have in our tax incremental finance, or TIF account. TIF is a property tax money specifically set aside for projects that will develop a specific area of the city to grow future tax revenue in that area. It is an important tool to improve East Dubuque. Unfortunately, we can't pursue those projects to improve our city and grow our tax base because the money has been spent covering East Dubuque's deficit spending. We should have over $1 million available in TIF funding and load. Instead, if you add up all the general governmental funds we have, including TIF, in 2022, it added up to less than $500,000. Let that sink in. The audit shows $1,037,133 in TIF alone, but $496,414 when you add up all the general government accounts, including TIF. In other words, the city funded a deficit of $885,000, $885,600 in general fund, mostly by spending tax dollars that were supposed to be set aside for another purpose. The 2018 audit showed a general fund balance of $219,758. We were in the black. By the 2021 audit, the general fund was in the red, $949,320. That deficit was reduced slightly to $885,600 in the 2022 audit. As stated, we have not yet received our fiscal year 2023 audit yet. Again, I'm not suggesting that anything that was done was illegal, and I'm not pointing fingers anywhere. I believe the people have a right to know how their government is run and what challenges and opportunities we face. We will face these challenges and opportunities together as a community. I realize the job is big, but I'm not afraid to tackle it because I see a huge opportunities for East Dubuque on the other side. The city has made progress in improving our deteriorated infrastructure. We can all see the new city hall, the new water tower, but what you can't see and might not seem too exciting are the sewage treatment improvements and upcoming sewage lift stations. These were needed investments, and there will have to be more like them. We have to extend city services to bring more development to broaden our tax base, which will ease the burden on everyone. We will continue to work on both improvements you can see and those you can't. Let's talk about how we turn things around. One of the first things I directed our interim city manager to do was to dig into our financial situation. I agreed with his recommendation to limit spending to items that are essential. This was implemented immediately. He now personally approves expenditures and has met with each department head to find savings. We are examining programs that the city operates and doing cost-benefit analysis to determine whether we are producing benefits to the East Dubuque taxpayers equal to the cost. One example of a program we are curtailing is DACRA, which provides the same services to neighboring communities that we have ourselves in issuing and processing municipal citations. Our analysis found that we are subsidizing the cost of these communities with East Dubuque tax dollars. We want to be a good neighbor, but not that good. We will work with any communities that agree to pay their own way. Cooperation can save everyone money, but moving forward, we only pay for our own costs. We are committed to finding ways to get the city out of the deficit in a reasonable time by spending wisely, making tough decisions, and being transparent to the people of East Dubuque. You will hear these transparency reports from time to time when there is something new to report. When we have completed balancing the books, we will include simple financial reports to the council so they can track where we are and, most important, ask questions and provide leadership. When the audit is prepared, we'll provide the council and the public a written report and we'll bring the auditor to the council to report on the audit and take questions from the council in the open before the citizens of East Dubuque, because that's how government should be run, and that's how you keep government honest. The audit will provide the facts that we can use to set a course and make decisions going forward. There's tough work ahead, but working together, we can get the job done. That's my report for tonight. So, thank you. Alderperson report. Elkin.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, as of last week Thursday, the daycare center that was in St. Mary's had moved into their new location down on the highway. Also, a couple of weeks ago or a month ago, I brought up about the Quaid property, the old arena and the old flower shop up there out on the backside on Wall Street. That still hasn't been touched. There's a lot of junk and weeds back there. Also, Bob had mentioned about the down lines, and 5 of us have approached the Illinois Commerce Commission about getting Frontier to take care of that. So we all filed a complaint in the last week. That's the end of my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
I'll just compliment these guys for the work they did going to the ICC. That is the place that can order Frontier to make changes, and they really kind of went above and beyond on that.
That, for those that don't know, that pole is hanging there, the wires is holding it up. It's been broke off for 10 years. There were 3 of them, and one of them broke and it went over more, but there's a lot of pressure on the poles around there. But hopefully they'll get something done for us.
All right. Thank you. Bergmeyer.
Nothing to report, Mayor.
Thank you. Degenhart.
I just got one thing, I got a couple complaints on the tree out here between the 2 benches. It's been dead for quite a while, so I went down this morning and tore it out of there, got rid of it.
Thank you.
And, I got a gentleman gonna speak from the floor, so I'm gonna wait till he gets up and then I'll talk with him on what he's gonna do.
Sure.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Fleur.
Nothing.
Thank you. Meyer.
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Roby.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. City Attorney Hess.
Thank you. Just a couple of things to report. I anticipate at next week's meeting, I'll provide a report on the request to return to the committee structure. And then the other issue is the Paul Henkel property at 374 Menominee. I anticipate that Jan Shimkus is going to be meeting with me at some point this week to discuss a plan for that property. And I hope to report back to the council next week on that as well. So that's all I've got for tonight.
All right. Thank you. Police Chief Kavasic.
Good evening. Just give you guys an update. Pam and I have been working on a monthly report to present to the council, and as of today, I think we will get our first one out the second week or the second meeting of October for the monthly stats of September. And then I think Pam and I discussed it will be a month-to-month deal on the second meeting of every month. You'll get the last month's stats. Just for example, you wouldn't have full September stats on the next meeting, I think is October 2nd. So you would miss a few days in there, and we can start from month to month after that if that's okay with the council.
Yeah, I think they've done good work, both trying to develop something that's informative to the council and also doesn't take a lot of administrative time to put it together. So thank you, Chief.
Yep. And then the other thing I was asked to mention, Pam, I think, received a few phone calls today about ATVs and UTVs up on the streets of East Dubuque. They are forbidden in the state of Illinois, and they are forbidden in the city limits of East Dubuque on any street. ATVs, side-by-sides, golf carts, anything of that nature is not legal in the state of Illinois, nor is it legal in the state or the city of East Dubuque.
Okay.
So is there any questions on that? That I was just asked to just remind people on the council and the citizens that are watching that they can't be driven in the city streets of East Dubuque.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
Thanks, Luke.
Thank you. Mark is not here tonight. Fire Chief Heim? All right.
Oh, one other thing I was going to say here. We used to always get the gaming report every month. I'd like to get back to getting that again. The Illinois Gaming Board puts that out, and we can download it.
That is easy enough.
Thank you.
23-0914, speakers from the floor. Chaz?
I asked Chaz to come, and he was dealing with the lady on the flats that we can't get to come to the meetings. And I want him to tell you what was going on. Go ahead, Chad.
All right, I talked to the lady. She was a little different, but nice. So I had a plan to buy the places from her, one package deal. But then I found out she had money owed to the city of East Dubuque. So I came in here, figured it out for her. Thought we had a plan going to where we give the money to you guys, clear her debt, she can walk away, I get the places. Kind of changed. She didn't want to do that anymore. Well, and then I told her, well, this property's not even in your name yet, so you need to do a get with your lawyer. And I just call me back when you get it in your name, and we can figure it out from there. And she never called me back, and just left it at that. So
And you're still interested, right?
yeah, I would buy them, but still interested.
I don't know how many times she said she was gonna come here, meet, she never shows up.
She was gonna meet me 1 week too, and then she never.
She was supposed to have been here 2 weeks ago, she never showed up.
Yes. So
Sue said that she's supposed to meet with her this week.
I'd be very surprised.
That's a lot.
Like, yeah, very
That's why I
surprised.
asked Chaz to come and explain what was going on, because he wanted to buy the thing and everything was going good, and she dropped the ball.
So if she doesn't show up for the meeting with Sue, can we still go through for the condemnation?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. And in fact, can someone there at the meeting give Chad my contact information?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great, thank you.
Is that it?
Thank you, Chaz.
Yep,
All right, I'm gonna get back to it. All right.
Thank you.
23-0915, consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Belkin,
Aye.
Bergmeyer,
Aye.
Dagenhart,
Aye.
Fleur,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Roby.
Aye.
All right, old business, 23-0908, discussion and possible action to approve IEPA loan 17-4205, disbursement number 16 in the amount of $15,000, including Louis Trenching application number 9 and CFPS invoice number 6 in the city of East Dubuque. I recommend that we table this until the next meeting.
So moved.
Seconded.
Roll call.
Bergmeyer,
Aye.
Dagenhart,
Aye.
Fleur,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Roby,
Aye.
Belkin.
Aye.
23-0909, discussion and possible action to approve change order number 7, Louis Trenching in the city of East Dubuque. Again, I recommend that we table this one until the next meeting.
Still moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Dagenhart,
Aye.
Fleur,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Roby,
Aye.
Belkin,
Aye.
Bergmeyer.
Aye.
23-0916, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Fleur,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Roby,
Aye.
Belkin,
Aye.
Bergmeyer,
Aye.
Dagenhart.
We are adjourned. Thank you. we might,
You have someone picking up?
we might have to talk with.
Oh, are you?
What's her name?